Welcome and thank you very much, everybody, for joining us in this powerful educational Lunch and Learn brought to you by Family Partners of Morris and Sussex counties. The topic for today is brought to you by the Morris County Sexual Assault Center. Right here, this is your host, Patricia Houston, and today is joining me clinician and prevention educator, Samantha Dooley. And with that, let's give a big welcome to Samantha.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Samantha, for being here with us. And I also want to thank every single person for joining us. I also want to remind everybody that this lunch and learn is being recorded. So if you have any question at the end, we're going to turn off the recorder, and that's your time to ask any question. Samantha, with that, I'm just going to let you take the lead in this presentation. So you're more than welcome to start.
Great, wonderful. So thank you so much for the introduction. I'm going to share my PowerPoint, but I'll just say before we start, this will be a pretty brief presentation. I'm going to talk a little bit about the services that we offer at the Morris County Sexual Assault Center, as well as about the scope of sexual violence, what it is, and learning a little bit about how it influences people and the communities that we live in. So let me share my screen and then we can jump right in and get started.
And while Samantha is sharing her screen, I just want to let you know that the contact information and also website, everything is going to be in the description box below the video. So if you have any question, all that information is going to be there.
Wonderful. So as I said, my name is Sam Dooley. I work at the Morris County Sexual Assault Center. There, I'm a clinician. I'm also a prevention educator, and I do some outreach as well. I use she, her pronouns. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about understanding the impact of sexual violence on individuals and communities. So as I said, we're going to talk about our services as well as understanding more about the sexual assault response team in our county. We'll talk about the impact of sexual violence, and we'll talk about the resources that are available for survivors as well as community members. So I'm going to probably talk for maybe about 20 minutes. It won't be too long. But if you do want more information, all my contact information is going to be at the end of the presentation, and I can also drop it in the chat. So if you're looking for more or more specific information, just don't hesitate to reach out to me. So I always want to start every presentation with a little self-care reminder. So we're talking about sensitive topics. Many people might know someone that's experienced sexual violence or they've experienced it themselves. So just be able to do whatever you need to do. Like we were saying, maybe have a cup of coffee, feel free to eat your lunch. Also feel free to step away if you need to, just do what feels right for you. If you're maybe listening to this recording afterwards, you can pause it and come back to it. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our hotline later on, and just know that that's something that's always available to you or to anyone that might need it. Okay. So here at the Morris County Sexual Assault Center, we offer a wealth of different services. We offer individual counseling, support groups for survivors and their families, advocacy, community education, and our coalition. We have a 24/7 hotline. We also operate as part of the sexual assault response team in Morris County, and we have a volunteer program. So I'm going to go through each of these a little bit more in depth. So in terms of our services, everything that we offer is completely free. It is also confidential. It's trauma informed and it's sexual violence focused. It's open to anyone that has experienced sexual violence, ages 13 and older, who live here in Morris County. And they could have experienced sexual violence at any time in their life. It could have been recent, or maybe it happened many years ago. People don't need any kind of insurance to access our services. And we also offer services in person and virtually based on the person's needs. In terms of our individual counseling, it's shorter term and sexual violence focused. By short term, we mean about 12 to 24 weeks, maybe a little bit more if somebody needs it. You don't need any kind of special referral. People can just call and schedule an appointment with us. or maybe they're coming from a different program, or if you're a provider, you could call to refer someone. Again, people just have to be ages 13 or older to access services here. Again, it's free and it's completely confidential. We also offer a bunch of different support groups. So group counseling might be for someone who's looking to be around people who've had similar experiences. Our groups, people can come back as many times as they want or they may need. There's no limit on that. So we have our weekly support group that's open to adult survivors of sexual assault. It's open, so it's operating throughout the year. You can join at any time. We also have a support group that we offer each month for family and friends of survivors. So it's important that family members know that they can experience their own trauma or emotional impact from supporting a loved one or hearing about their experience, to know that that space is available to them. We offer an LGBTQ+ support group, which is available to folks who want to heal in a safe space. And we also recently started offering a creative expressions group, which focuses on, different methods of coping beyond talk therapy. And our services are always adapting and changing, or offering new or different groups or services. So always feel free to call us and check in if you're looking for something specific. If you're looking for services for someone that you know, or for yourself, or for someone that you're working with, you can call our office line right here. And again, I'll share all this information at the end of the presentation as well. So we offer a 24-hour, 7 days a week sexual violence hotline. That could be for anybody that has experienced sexual violence and maybe they need emotional support. If somebody's maybe feeling triggered in the middle of the night, or maybe there was a recent sexual assault and someone is in crisis and wants to know maybe what their rights are. We can help connect people with local resources regarding sexual violence as well, or help to answer any questions that somebody might have, or connect them with someone who can answer those questions. We also offer accompaniment to forensic exams and to police stations. So our trained advocates are available, again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to go with someone to the hospital that experienced a recent sexual assault, or to accompany maybe somebody to a police station to make an initial report. And you can access our hotline by calling this number here. And that's available to anybody at any time. Maybe even if you're a service provider and you're looking for more information for a client, or if you have a situation that's going on, feel free to just give us a call. So what many people don't know or realize is that sexual violence is completely preventable. So one of our goals as an organization is to keep sexual violence from occurring in our community and to create community support for survivors. So we'll go out and we'll do presentations like this, where we're maybe talking about our services, talking about sexual violence and raising awareness. But we'll also talk about things like consent, healthy relationships and intimacy, gender equity and oppression, trauma-informed care. Presentations can really be tailored to the needs of your organization or about special topics. We're happy to hold them in person or virtually. Some of our presentations for youth can be adapted for any age group, K through 12. We're also happy to adapt to the needs of your community organization or your specific profession. We've done presentations specific to colleges, healthcare staff, for parents or health education classes. So if this is something you're interested in, or you're wanting to learn more about maybe serving the survivors that you already work with, feel free to reach out to me. We also have our Sexual Violence Prevention Coalition. So this coalition really aims to increase the strengths that our county has and address the risk factors so that we can prevent sexual violence from occurring in Morris County through engaging as a community and collaborating. So this is really open to anybody that maybe wants to learn more, wants to be able to help their community, or is already really passionate about this issue or doing this work. So community organization, any community members, educators, school staff, It's open to parents or even youth leaders, as well as any other local groups or businesses. So our intro meeting for the coalition is going to be happening at the end of March. So if this is something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out to me. I can put some information about it in the chat at the end of this as well. And you can just come by and learn a little bit more about what we're doing, as well as give us some feedback about what you think your community needs. So here at Morris County Sexual Assault Center, we're also functioning as part of the sexual assault response team in Morris County. And so what the sexual assault response team is, or SART, is a collaborative approach to addressing the medical, emotional, and legal needs of survivors in our county. So that's comprised of law enforcement, a forensic nurse, and our confidential sexual violence advocates here. So SART is activated after somebody experiences a recent sexual assault. And someone can activate any part of this team to be able to support them. This is specifically for people who are 13 or older, and they were recently assaulted within the past 5 days. That person can go to the police station or to any emergency room in Morris County to receive support, or they can activate via our hotline. So what this team really is someone who can choose what they might need in the moment. So someone can say, I want to be able to get a forensic exam and I want to have an advocate with me at that time. Or maybe they just want to call us for some advocacy services. Maybe they want to be able to go to the police station and make a report, but it's their decision who's involved at that time. So someone can decide to get a forensic exam. That does not mean that they have to report to law enforcement. And it doesn't mean they have to have an advocate with them. So it's important for people to know that this team exists and that resources are available to people if they did experience a recent assault. Another thing that we offer here is we have a pretty robust volunteer program. So if you're interested in becoming an advocate, that's one of our confidential sexual violence advocates who would answer calls on our 24/7 hotline and provide resources and support to survivors, as well as be one of those people that might go with a survivor to the emergency room or for support during a forensic exam, or to a police station. They also might participate in our community events. We do offer a free 40-hour training to become certified as a confidential sexual violence advocate. It's really a specialized training that offers comprehensive education regarding sexual violence. And then we also offer continuing education to our advocates as well. So if this is something that you're interested in, again, you can feel free to contact us. Okay. So now we're just going to move into the next part of the conversation where we're talking about what sexual violence is and how it impacts people and how it impacts communities. So what exactly is sexual violence? I think this is a term that a lot of people don't fully understand what it means. So sexual violence can be any type of unwanted sexual contact. So that can include words or actions of a sexual nature against a person's will or without their consent. So that can include something like sexual assault or the sexual abuse of a child. It can include sexual harassment that people might experience at school, at work, or in the community. It can include sexual trafficking or exploitation. It also includes if someone exposes their body to others without consent or watches somebody else engage in private acts without their knowledge. Non-consensual image sharing, such as sharing images of themselves or someone else without consent, or any type of unwanted sexual comments. So as we can see, this is a spectrum of different experiences. There are many ways that someone can experience sexual violence, and all of these acts can have an impact on someone, and that person deserves support. So there are so many myths about sexual violence, who it happens to. So I think it's really important for us to talk about what are the facts, right? So every 68 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. In the US, about 44% of women and 25% of men experience some kind of contact sexual violence in their lifetime. Most acts of sexual violence are perpetrated by somebody the person knows. The majority of sexual assaults are not reported. And most people are experiencing sexual violence happen for the first time, between 11 and 25 years old. Survivors of sexual assault also experience higher rates of distress than those for any other violent crime. So this is a lot of statistics, but what does this really mean? Sexual violence can happen at any time during the lifespan, but it's important that we're starting prevention early with youth. Sexual violence has a large impact on individuals and on communities. It's impacting a very large portion of people. And it's really a highly underreported crime with a unique impact on people. So sexual violence is really a public health issue, right? We saw how many people it's impacting. It can be costly. It's estimated that the cost is $122,000 per survivor. It can have an impact on someone acutely right after it happens or on their long-term health, as well as, obviously somebody's ability to go to work, right, or go to school. And we also see that sexual violence is related to other forms of violence, like intimate partner violence, as well as bullying. So this is really an issue that we should be addressing as a society and should be raising awareness for. It has a large impact and it's extremely prevalent. So I think the important thing to think about is there's really no one way to respond to a traumatic event. There's no kind of list of the specific things that happen to someone, but the common reactions that somebody might expect could include feelings of fear, shock, or numbness, complicated feelings afterwards, like guilt, shame, or anger. Survivors are at higher risk for using substances, as well as thoughts of suicide, symptoms of post-traumatic stress, anxiety, and depression, as well as, like we said before, struggling with work or school or physical symptoms like struggling to sleep or eat, or having headaches. Going through a sexual trauma doesn't define somebody's future, but it's important that survivors are offered support, understanding, and specialized care by their communities. And I'll say too, there's a lot of different other ways that people might react that aren't even listed on here. We all have a part to play in ending sexual violence. So often individuals who are experiencing violence can be blamed for experiencing it. We've all heard people be criticized for maybe what they wore or who they were with. But the truth is that there are community level factors that are the root causes of sexual violence. Sexual violence is a community problem and survivors are never at fault for what has happened to them. So building connective and supportive communities are ways we can prevent sexual violence from occurring. Even coming to a presentation like this and learning a little bit more, you're doing something to contribute to your community. So something I feel like people often ask and often want to know is if somebody does disclose to them, or maybe somebody in their life has experienced this, how do we respond, right? Or if you're a professional working at an organization and someone discloses to you that's using your services, how do you best support them? So just kind of like a little brief tips about, responding to a survivor is listening is always something concrete that we can do for someone. It doesn't always feel like it, but actively listening to someone and allowing to share what they're comfortable sharing can be really impactful. It can be helpful to really listen, validate someone's emotions, and even reflect back to them what they said to you so that they feel heard. A good rule of thumb is to not ask invasive or unnecessary questions for someone that might feel blaming. Maybe explain, if you have to ask a question, explain why you're asking that question to reduce somebody feeling shamed or blamed. Assessing for safety is always important, making sure that person is physically and emotionally safe. Asking if there's anything that they need to feel safer. Identifying some of those symptoms that we talked about before, some of those common reactions, that they can be the result of that trauma, and that it's completely understandable that somebody might be experiencing those thoughts or those feelings, and that can really help to reduce shame. We can also use simple grounding techniques, things like mindfulness or sensory awareness, to bring somebody back into the moment. So doing something as simple as asking somebody if they want a glass of water, if they want to get some fresh air, or to describe the room that they're in, can help them bring them back to the moment and maybe feel a little safer having that conversation. And where you can, and where maybe that person is comfortable receiving them, provide resources for services and to receive support. And obviously we're talking about our services here, but I'm also going to mention a few different other services that people can access in our community. So at the end of the day, healing from sexual trauma, it really looks different for everyone. Just like we talked about, there's no one right way to respond. There's also no one right way for somebody to heal. And this could change throughout somebody's life. So that spectrum could include, maybe that person in that moment is just working on establishing safety in their life. That could be their physical safety, their emotional or psychological safety. It could mean just trying to meet their basic needs, right? Like we said, being able to sleep, being able to eat, building a support system. And maybe that's finding support in their specific community. For some people, that can look like wanting to access therapy or group support. A lot of people find healing in art and creativity, or in body-based treatments, with things like yoga or massage or exercise. Some people want to disclose their experience to others and others don't, and that's completely up to that person. That's their choice. And again, some people might want to start a legal process and other people may not. There's a lot of reasons that people don't report, and that's somebody's an individual journey and experience. So really the summary is there's no really one right way to heal. So like I said, there's a few additional resources here. Maybe if you live in a different county, NJ CASA is the New Jersey Coalition Against Sexual Assault. If you go to their Find Help page, it has every single sexual violence program listed by county, where you can find the support in that county. We were specifically talking about people ages 13 and up during this conversation, but you can also go to Deirdre's House, which is a resource in our county for children. The Morris County Family Justice Center also offers legal support for domestic and sexual violence, as well as trafficking and a bunch of different supports for people. And then JBWS is our county resource for people experiencing intimate partner abuse as well. And if there's any other resources not included on here, feel free to ask me, and I'll put up my information here and I'll drop it in the chat as well. But you can feel free, if you're interested in prevention, learning more about our services, our coalition, you can feel free to email me. You can also email us to our general email at the Morris County Sexual Assault Center. Our hotline is really for those 24 hours if you need support, or you need something more urgently. And again, if you're looking maybe to schedule services or find services for someone that you can call our office line. It's not a 24-hour line. I just want to make sure people know that. But these are all the different ways that you can reach us. And I'm excited to hear anybody's questions, answer any questions that we may have.
Thank you, Samantha. I just want to thank everybody for being here. And with that, we're going to move to our Q&A session. That part is not recorded. So, Samantha, I was going to ask you, in relation to the links and contact information, it is possible that you can send it to me so I can add it in the description box below the video so everybody have access to that information?
Yeah, absolutely. That's no problem. I'll email it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to turn off the recorder.